What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Base Pats and Brewskis. Today is episode 12, Slaughtering Seattle, with my friend Dom Lanfear back again. We're going to be talking some Seattle, and one of us went to the game Saturday. It wasn't me. Take a guess who it was. How's that Giannis jersey looking?
It is awesome. I can't believe they gave away something that nice
It is.
to 30,000 people too. That must have been quite pricey for them, but I love it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's the cool thing about being like a small market team kind of thing is it seems like they really like to give back to the fans because the the importance of the fans is extremely high to the team. So
Mhm.
uh, let's talk a little bit about the beer of the pod. I already popped it open because it's not a twist off. So I got the Spotted Cow open, classic Wisconsin beer. I'm personally not like a huge drinker of these, just don't really stumble upon it too much or, open many myself, but I'll give it a sip. Oh, nice. I mean, the big thing with them is that they like aren't sold outside of Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, literally, I think people come to Wisconsin in search of those specifically in a
Yeah.
lot of cases because they're not sold anywhere else.
Yeah, I like and I mean they're good beers, but I think it's more of the whole idea of the exclusiveness of them that is more appealing to people. But anyway, let's jump right in. It's not about the beer. Well, it is, but not completely. We got game one. It was a 6-5 game Friday night. I was doing the moonshine shot every run scored. A Snickerdoodle Old Smoky Moonshine. So if my memory's a little shaky on the game, that is potentially a reason why I don't remember every detail about it. But anyway, I'll give it my best shot. So jumping in, I'll start with my player of the game. We'll kind of go in reverse order here a little bit. I went with Brian Hudson. Just he had a solid relief appearance for us. Didn't give up any runs. I know he had a lot of runners on base. I'm pretty sure he came in with like one or two on at least. He ended up facing Julio Rodriguez. I'm pretty sure he struck him out, or he just got easy contact out against Julio Rodriguez, and wasn't the ideal matchup for Hudson. I know they had planned on potentially bringing someone else in. I'm not sure off the top of my head if Hudson's a lefty or not, but I thought that's what it was. Was that Hudson was a lefty and Julio Rodriguez is a righty, so it was kind of a bad matchup. Pat Murphy kept him in, let him go, and he got the last out. So that was kind of what I took as for being a very important moment of the game. So shout out Brian Hudson. I don't know. Did you want to throw in your craft player of the game to start here as well? We'll both
I'll
kind
be
of
honest, I
flip
was
it.
not able to catch most of that game as I was out to dinner for most of the
Oh,
night,
that
and
is well,
the
that's
bar,
fucking criminal.
yeah, the restaurant we were at, they had TVs at the bar, but they kept switching the channel between like Shark Tank and then like the South Carolina women's game that was already a blowout. They did not want to
Oh,
turn on the Milwaukee game.
that's understandable. I mean, those are big games.
Shark Tank is not a big game though.
Big game for some people in the game of life. It's a big game.
That's
Um.
fair.
Anyway, I mean Hudson. I'm trying to think of some other candidates I had. I mean, everyone played decent. We had such a hot start. It was, guys getting on base, guys, delivering with runners on base early, just able to score. Obviously, the game ended with a walk-off walk. William Contreras with the bases loaded. It was Anthony Munoz, the closer for Seattle, I
Andre
believe.
Andres
Andres
Munoz
Andres
on
Munoz.
yeah.
Okay, so he was in, um, and really just kind of shit the bed. I mean, he walked four
Four
people,
guys.
and
Yeah, just
yeah, I think he got like one out, maybe. Yeah, one out. It looks like in the box score, but yeah, it was kind of I don't know. That was a weird ending to the game, but definitely a good one. But the Mariners definitely showed some fight that game. They were down, I think 3-0 or 3-1, came back, tied it up 3-3. Then it was 5-3. They scratched back and got a couple runs back against Abner Uribe. he was just kind of giving up hard contact, and um,
Yeah.
it kind of got away from the young guy. But we ended up obviously a good result in the end. He was able to stop the bleeding enough to where it was still a tie game going to the bottom of the ninth. And with some of the clutch guys we have on this team, I mean, if you give us a chance with 3 outs, we can usually scrape together one run, and I mean it's kind of what we did, really scraping. So, what did you think about? I don't know how much of the ending of the game you got to see, but I'm sure in some highlights you maybe saw the walk-off walk. What do you think that says about this team that even with young guys, that we were able to put together 4 walks in a row against a solid pitcher like Munoz? What do you think that says about the plate discipline of some of our hitters?
I think the plate discipline this team has is well above average. I mean, not even just in this game, but in a lot of games, you'll see them taking a lot of pitches, and most of the time it works out in their favor. Even the young guys, I mean, it looks like they've been playing in the major leagues for a couple of years because they're willing to lay off some close pitches if it's not exactly what they're looking for. So, I mean, 4 walks in a row, that's a tough thing to do. And, so, somehow they were able to lay off those pitches. And, I mean, it was just a great overall ending to the game to
Yeah.
one I didn't, even though I didn't get to see it at all.
Yeah, I mean it was a real good game, fun game to watch. Um, Freddie Peralta pitched pretty good. Again, kind of it seemed like he got gassed out a little bit near the end of his start. Started giving up some more contact. He still only had 1 walk, which I liked seeing. I know that when you're a high strikeout pitcher like Freddie is, that can then tend to be the downfall of your game is that you'll walk more people as well.
Mhm.
Because when you're pumping gas like that, it's not the control maybe isn't always there. And if you're going to get people swinging, missing, it's typically on stuff that isn't in the zone. So, I mean, good job by Freddie for the most part. The bullpen came in, did a pretty good job. Elvis Peguero was pretty electric. I mean, he came in and he was throwing hard. He was pretty pumped up after his inning. I think he pitched the eighth. He was real pumped up, and that was fun to see. So it was kind of between him and Hudson of who got that player of the game, in my opinion, just because I think the hitters, no one, I mean, everyone played a pretty good game, but no one particularly stood out as having a incredible performance. Maybe Dunn played pretty good. Oliver Dunn had his first, I think that was his first home run was that game,
Yeah, yeah.
and that was a cool moment.
Adamas played pretty well as well.
Yeah.
2 for 3 with the walk as well. He also had
Hmm.
a home run, so I mean, he played pretty well that game. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess I just kind of wanted to mix it up with the player of the game, but let's move on to game two, which you should have been paying pretty good attention to considering you were there, which I hope. How was the experience of getting to be at the game Saturday night?
I mean, it's something that never gets old. I mean, I went to a Bucks game a couple weeks ago, and even then, it's easy to take for granted how fun going to a professional sports stadium is, especially one that's as nice as AmFam Field. Just walking in and you see the scale of the field, and it's always breathtaking. Um, I wish the game would have worked out in our favor, but
Yeah.
something I
Yeah.
love doing and something I'll probably be doing a bunch this summer is trying to catch more Brewers games in person.
Yeah. I mean, I know I was just looking into getting a couple tickets for the May 9th game using the Quick Trip Rewards program thing. Um, that's like they're giving out like little dog toys. So I
Yeah,
was like, well, shoot, we got to go get a toy for the little puppy. So we'll probably be going May 9th, and then I think we're going April 27th against the Yankees too. So
that'll be a
pretty,
pretty good game. They're
yeah,
giving
I'm
away
excited to see that.
that game. They're giving away free tumblers.
Yeah, it's the City Connect tumblers. Yep. So that'll be pretty cool. Did you see sorry, this is a bit of a sidetrack. Did you see that we were supposed to wear the City Connects Friday, but there's some kind of production issue?
Yeah, I guess Fanatics just wasn't prepared to have him to the team this early or something like that. Is what basically
Wh-
got from what I read. It's like
What the hell is this? Is this like sixth grade basketball where you don't get your
yeah,
jerseys in time and everyone's
I
got to
mean,
wear last year's
Fanatics
jersey?
Fanatics is shit the bed so far
Yeah,
this season with
no
these
kidding.
uniforms. I don't think
No
anybody
kidding.
likes them. They look terrible. I I used to really want to buy a lot of jerseys, try to collect them, but now it's like I don't want these ones. I
Yeah,
These look
you can't even
awful.
see the names.
Yeah, and they're not even the nice, what's it called, embroidered.
Hmm.
something like that. It's like
Yeah, it's like the screen print.
yeah, it's
Yeah. What a bunch of fucking goofs.
yeah.
Anyway, so 5-3. Maybe that's what put me in such a bad mood with seeing that score, but uh Fanatics kind of catching some strays there. But um
There is an
yeah.
account on Twitter called Fanatic Sucks that is specializes in just calling moments where the uniforms have failed the players and the teams, and I think it's probably one of my favorite accounts on Twitter right now.
Well, looks like you found my third account. No, no, I'm kidding. So I have a question. So what was Bryce Miller like in person? Because he looked like he was shoving watching on screen. He was pretty, I mean, 7 shutout innings.
Yeah, he was pushing gas, and it just
Yeah.
looked like I felt like every at bat he was starting with a strike, and that's a tough thing for hitters to do. I think part of it was we pretty aggressive early on in counts, but then he'd hammer it 1-2 strike, and then all of a sudden we're down 0-2 or 1-2 or stuff like that, and then it was like, well, shit, what are
Yeah.
they gonna do now? Like now they have to choke up. I
Yeah.
mean,
I
he
mean, I think a bit of a yeah, good personification for our kind of early offensive performance in that game is Gary Sanchez. I mean, just kind of stagnant, poking it with a stick, asking if it's still alive, kind of thing. I mean, Sanchez looks. I know me and you have kind of just not necessarily on the podcast, but we've kind of mentioned how
I
Sanchez is off to a slow start. And I mean, obviously, I like to keep it positive on this podcast, but what do you think of Gary so far? I mean, basically didn't do anything at the plate, which is kind of his calling card, and then as a catcher behind the plate, I mean,
he
I
almost
think
killed Dale Hall.
yeah, well, for one, he almost took out our pitcher. Um, he basically had an inside pitch that the hitter check swinged at, and he just kind of chose not to catch. He did throw a runner out, but I mean, it was so that's solid, but man, he just look. I don't know what it is. Maybe the lack of time in spring training to really get to prepare, but he looks like he's playing a little nervous or something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't know what he's doing on this team at this point. He he's not really hitting anything all that hard. He's not providing any value offensively. He almost took out Dale Hall on a throwdown on a steal. That was
Can you imagine if that would have hit him in the head?
I,
I
I would
mean,
have hoped
come
I would have
on,
hoped
man.
Murphy would have sent Contreras and so switched him around
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's
true, true.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
just not
what
a
is
hot
going
start to the
on?
for him, and it's with the spring training that Eric Haas had. I can't imagine that they want to keep him down in Triple A
Yeah,
for
it's
that
got to
much
be a
longer.
tight
Especially,
leash for Gary, right? Like, I mean,
yeah, I mean,
like with you mentioned Haas being so good, there's got to be a lot of pressure on him right now, considering you have Haas, hot on your ass basically.
yeah, it's
Pause.
yeah, no, it was brutal to watch his at bats just because I. It always feels like when he comes up, it's gonna be a strikeout or pop out,
Hmm.
and it's like,
Yeah,
what are we doing?
yeah. I mean, big swings. So I mean, that's always solid. But all right, let's move on to something positive of this game. I think the bullpen was all right. Everyone kind of came in and was status quo to a point. I mean, Bryce Wilson giving up a run is not unheard of, but 5 strikeouts for him is pretty cool. Hobie Milner, he's been a bit shaky to start this year. Not the typical Hobie we saw last year, and JB
Yeah,
Bukowskis is, I mean, he came in and got a strikeout against his lone batter he faced. But my player of the game was Churio. He had his home run, another home run, an absolute shot.
yeah,
I mean, he destroyed that baseball. So I mean, that's really sweet to see. And I mean, he just missed on one today too. So I mean, he's obviously swinging with some confidence. And there's just streaks of the offense looking so dynamic and so dangerous with the speed, the power. Your on base contact guys, and then you have a couple power guys like Yelich, Contreras, and Oliver Dunn for that case. Uh,
Yeah.
so I mean, what did you think of when you got to see the offense in person and you had, guys like William Contreras still putting two hit game together. Terang still was getting involved, Churio making plays as well. Was Terang's hit, was his that kind of contact swing, dump it into left field? He had that one, right? Was that today or yesterday? Do you remember?
That one I'm trying to think. Yeah, in the eighth inning, I think you're talking about when that kind of
Mhm.
mini rally started. Yeah, I believe it was to left field.
Yeah, he just kind of dumped it, and then that's when Churio hit the home run, right?
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking like Tarang's going to take off at some point, right? But then
Right.
Churio just decided to take them both off the board anyways.
Yeah, that's
And
the
when
easy way
Churio
to
hit
do
that
it.
ball, the way everybody stood up, I mean that thing was absolutely pounded on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's something that we, are gonna pay a guy for 10 years to go do, and that's exactly what he's doing. So that's kind of why he was my player of the game. I know he had one play out in right field, pretty hard hit ball, and he just got to it so quick in the gap and was able to hold a guy to a single that probably should have been a double. I mean, he just plays like a veteran. That's the biggest thing for me. He looks like he's
Yeah.
been out there for a couple years. There at least to this point, and I'm sure there will be, but to this point, there really hasn't been too many growing pains. So, in terms of what Churio, looked like out on the field, felt like in terms of fan atmosphere and just how he handled himself, what do you have to say about him as a player so far, from getting to see him in person and just on TV and on the games as well?
I mean, I think he's everything we were hoping he would be. He's showing very clear signs that in the future he's going to be the superstar of this team and in the league. And you kind of, it's nice to see too the official MLB like Twitter account. Whenever Jackson Trio does something great, they're always posting it because I think they want him to be a superstar as well. You know, they have a financial incentive if he becomes a superstar in a small town market like this is. But I mean, he's been everything we'd hoped he'd be. He's hitting balls hard. He's patient at the plate. He doesn't swing at much junk, and it looks
Mhm.
like he's doing this for years at the highest level.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think just his overall five tool capability has shown through. And it hasn't been five tool and he really isn't lacking in some kind of fielding or maybe hitting. I mean, it's been pretty much every aspect of the game. He's shown a flash in with his speed, being able to beat out routine plays or at least put pressure on the fielders. Being able to hit the ball with power, and his first couple at bats just kind of was putting bat to ball and trying to find a hole as well. I mean, he wasn't taking super big swings, which is understandable for when you're, first couple of games, just, trying to get the nerves out. But I mean, he
Mm.
looks like he's ready. But last kind of thing I wanted to touch on for this game was the DL Hall did not pitch bad. That's the tough thing
No,
about this game. He gave up so many soft contact hits. I don't remember what inning it was that it really kind of fell apart. Was it like the third or the
it was
fourth?
the third inning, and I
Yeah.
remember this inning specifically. It started with that bunt or tap hit by Samad Taylor.
Yep.
Um, but then I don't know if many people noticed this or if anybody who was watching on TV noticed it, but at the game, Samad Taylor on that wild pitch, he took 3, 4 hard steps like he was running and must have gotten DL Hall's field of vision on that pitch. And that's when he threw it to the backstop and took second.
Okay.
That maybe
Yeah.
threw him out of a groove. And then JP Crawford comes up with another like bloop single. I mean, it had an exit velocity of 67 off the bat.
Yeah.
And it was just an unlucky inning. Like he could not catch a break. I think there was one play where a ground ball, hard hit ground ball to Dunn at third base, and it bounces off his glove. With
Yep.
Damas is moving over to back him up, and then it kind of ends up in that void where nobody is.
Yep. Kind of squirted out in the left field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw, I don't remember what Twitter page it was off the top of my head, but I think one of the base hits he gave up, or, hit in general, was over, I think, like 95 miles an hour exit velocity. All the other ones were at 95 or below, I want to say, or at least all of the other ones were below 100. I think there was only one exit velocity over 100 in that tough third inning against him. And I mean, that just kind of goes to show, that's why you have to go out there and play. The expected ERA, expected, whatever it is, average against is not, it's not real. That's a stat that's expected.
Yeah.
That's why you have to go out and do it. And, that's just how baseball is sometimes. You have miscues, takes a bad hop. I mean, that's why you go out and do it. And I think that was a perfect personification of what baseball is it's imperfect. There's a lot of things, judgment things. It takes 9 guys being on the same page out in the field. So that was kind of a tough inning. And after that, it seemed like the team, didn't bounce back obviously till later in the game, but
Yeah,
uh,
almost a comeback. I really wish Reese Hoskins would have. I think he probably missed that grand slam by like a fingernail off the bat.
yep,
I
yep,
mean, the way that thing came off the bat immediately, it was like, oh, there's no shot. He just hit it. There's no way he just did this.
yeah,
Was the
because it was to
immediate
like dead
reaction.
center too, right? I mean,
Uh,
he hit it
I
on the
think,
screws.
yeah, like he didn't miss it by much, and that had to be hard coming in pinch hitting, and then first pitch he sees.
Yeah.
I mean, that would
I
have made
mean,
him
at
a
least we did
legend.
get one run from it. Yeah, yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I mean, we did get the one run from it, but ultimately, it wasn't really enough. And then Polanco had the kind of the game sealing home run there to, was that against Hobie?
I think that was Luis Urias who hit the homer off Hobie,
Oh, okay,
which
okay.
which is
That really
brutal to
stings.
see. Yeah,
Yeah,
which I saw the pitch breakdown of that, and it wasn't even necessarily a bad pitch. It was like a changeup low and away, and somehow Luis barreled that one up to left field, left center. I don't.
yeah. He can get under balls. Like he's a smaller dude and compact guy, so it's kind of what you're going to be susceptible to. But yeah, I mean, nonetheless, the end of the game kind of, sucked at the end, kind of a bitter taste. But there was a pretty good response to that in game 3 with the 12-4 stomping, romping. I don't even of Seattle from Milwaukee. I mean, those guys. I think it was the first time in 5 years that Seattle's come to Milwaukee since like 2019. That was the last time they played a away game in AmFam Field, and I mean, I bet they don't want to come back after
Yeah,
that. I
perfect
mean,
way to send him home.
yeah,
Yeah,
seriously, go back to that northwest rainy ass city and go hang out in the rain a little more, you jackasses.
uh,
Anyway, all right, let's dive into some of the stats here. I think we can both agree. I mean, if you want to have a different player, but William Contreras, player of the game.
yeah, no, that's a no-brainer. I mean, he
Two home
he was
runs, just missed a third home run where he's got his slow ass hit it to the wall and got thrown out at second. So I mean that was pretty funny. But
yeah, no, yeah, and then what do you have? I think two singles, or was it a I'm trying to know, single or a double? But all
I
four of
thought
his
he had two
were
base
hit
hits and two
hard.
home runs. Yeah,
Yeah, he's just barreling balls right now, and It's just working out well. Like he's pissing on these balls.
yeah.
Pause.
Pause. Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the day when I opened my phone and saw lineup card set, no Christian Yelich, I was kind of like, oh boy, here's another Sunday lineup where, who knows what's going to happen when you have Oliver Dunn batting leadoff. You still don't know much about him. That's no slight to him. I mean, I think
No, yeah,
he's a great player, but we just don't know much about him yet. And
yeah,
just kind of an interesting lineup. Perkins in center field is always fun to see too. So, but I mean, we went
uh,
out there and we were just destroying the baseball. Didn't even really need to get on base that many times via the walk. I mean, we were just hitting the ball well. A lot of first pitch takes, seeing the ball very well, making the pitcher throw you pitches that you can hit. Hancock, he had some pretty good moments with his 6 strikeouts, but he was just very susceptible to giving up the long ball. It
yeah.
was Contreras and was it Adamas who had homers today?
Yeah, Adamas had that high. I think came off the bat at like 30 something
Yeah, like
degrees. I want to say.
39 degrees, something like
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, he hit all that one up. But yeah, it was just them two who hit home runs. Everybody else though
Yeah,
was we were mashing the ball around. I mean, Oliver Dunn went 2 for 4, and that was a nice surprise out of him in that leadoff spot.
a triple,
Yeah, yeah, he
triple
got
today. I mean,
got on the horse.
yeah, he was. I mean, he does not look like he'd be fast if you just look at him like his running style, but he was chugging along. I mean, he legged it out, stand up triple. I mean, the fielder didn't even play it that bad. It was just
No, yeah,
hustle. So, and I mean, it's always good. I think we're on game 3 of 13 in a row, 13 days in a row. So when you can have two guys um, throw 9 innings between your starter and one reliever, I mean,
yeah,
it's a good way to predict future success with having so many arms ready. Like, I mean, I
yeah,
just look at the amount of guys in the Mariners, group that threw innings throughout this series, not counting Rojas, obviously a fielder, but
yeah.
and
Yeah, it
they
was
also had that dude get smoked with a ball.
yeah,
Uh,
right in the knee.
Snyder.
Hate to see that. Like that like
Yeah.
well,
I mean, Sal Frelick, I think that was like 102 off the bat,
yeah,
just right
he
to the kneecap.
demolished that one. I think if he doesn't hit the pitcher, that's going right up through the middle. That's
Yep. Yep.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Any points you want to touch on specifically about this game?
yeah. What's the reliever? Thiago Viara, I think is how you say it.
Yeah,
He
Vieira. Yep.
was very good in his 3 innings. He threw 50 pitches, and I guess
Yep.
the only blemish to his game today was that 2-run shot in the ninth, was it?
Yeah, it was like right. It was with like 2 outs, I think. I mean, it was like
Yeah, and
right at the end of the game.
it's like at that point, you hate to give up a home run, but being up 8 after that, like who cares? Like
Yeah.
he came out, he was fired up, and he gave us 3 good innings after
Yep.
Colin Rea came out and gave us a good start. I think that's he deserves his flowers for the day.
Yeah, I think Colin Ray is such a sleep like a sleepy pick is a great pitcher. I mean, he's had 2 pretty solid outings for us. I don't think he went 6 innings against the Mets on Easter. It must have been. I don't think he pitched. I want to say it was like 5 or 5 2/3, but coming out 6 innings. He did get hit around a little bit, and he's not going to strike many guys out. But if you're not giving up runs, that's the name of the game. So I mean, if you're throwing 6 innings, giving up 2 runs, I'll take that as long as you can go out and do that. He
Yeah,
was a guy who was up and down from the minors, I think like 5 times last year. So it's nice to see he's got a solid spot in the rotation, being kind of our number 3 guy, consistent right-handed arm. It's really been fun to see him and show off his consistency. But I think today also another big thing was Jake Bauers seemed to find a little bit of some success today. I think he had that. He hit a ball, pulled it into right field, and the guy kind of dove and shot off his glove. And luckily, the ball shot forward off his glove and didn't get past him, because I mean that could have been, inside the park type stuff with
yeah,
with how hard he hit it. So, I mean, it was cool seeing some success from him. But again, let's touch a little bit on Oliver Dunn. I mean, kind of like you mentioned earlier, big game from him. We've seen him flash leather in the field. He has had his blemishes as well. Don't get me
mhm.
wrong, but I think he's stealing bases here as well. So what kind of a surprise do you think he was to the team? I mean, he was to me, considering I didn't even mention him in my infield projection video. I didn't really know much about him at all. So, what kind of surprise has it been for you to see this early success from Oliver Dunn?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I didn't even know he existed until he was announced on the
Same,
on the
same.
the team. But he's been a nice surprise as somebody that has shown that he can bat really anywhere in the lineup. I mean, nice leadoff day from today. What did he bat? Where was he last night? Um,
Uh, let's look. Fifth?
Fifth. So I mean, he's a guy that they're trusting to put, in the heart of the lineup, and I think that shows how much they got Pat Murphy trusts him, and it's paid off so far. I mean, he's putting good swings together, good at bats together, and he's hitting the ball hard.
Hmm.
And And when that
Yeah.
happens, I mean, good things are bound to happen eventually.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's a definitely a game of numbers, and you have a 0% chance of getting a hit if you don't put the ball in play. So he's doing just that. I think that's what a lot of guys are doing as well. Bryce Terang, still hitting the ball well today, showing off in the field. He made a crazy, you know, fade route type catch, like you'd see from an NFL receiver,
Mhm.
basically over the shoulder, reaching out last second. Blake Perkins had kind of gotten a late jump on a ball. Um, I mean, I'm curious, Bryce Terang, like his experience in the outfield, because he looked so comfortable chasing down the fly ball like that. That could potentially be an option if we ever run thin at outfield. I mean, I don't know his experience, but he looks so good stealing bases. I think he leads the MLB with like 7 right now.
Yeah,
Um, got on base twice today. Yeah, I mean, he's looked fantastic. So,
yeah.
what do you think about? I know we've talked about him a lot so far this year, but what are you most excited about with Bryce Terang going forward?
I think his defense has always been above average to really good last season, as we saw. I think it was mainly now just seeing his bat come alive and him putting better swings on the ball this season than he did last season. Obviously, it's still early, but I mean, I think that could really open up the Brewers to do some things with the infield if they know he's going to be a reliable bat for them at second base.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, and with the limited shift ability, I think having a solid second baseman like that is so important now. I mean, it's still a middle infielder. It's the partner of a shortstop. So having a good second baseman has shown it can save runs with how good of play Bryce Drang's had. I mean, I think he had a ground ball too that he just made a crazy play on,
Yeah, it was hit.
going up the middle, right? Or was
Yeah,
it
it
or
was
was
going
it
to
to his
his right.
left?
Yeah, it was to hitting that
I don't remember.
first and second hole, and he had to make a pretty long run and then turn
Mhm.
around in stride, make a good throw on the run. I mean,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah, I
flashing
mean,
leather.
and his arm's strong too for a second baseman. He makes really accurate, strong throws, and I think that can be slept on with second baseman, and can be seen as a weakness for them sometimes because of the position they play. But let's head on to the series awards. Again, once I'm done, you can kind of chime in with anything you'd change, maybe think something you just agree with. But the MVP, the B&B MVP, along with the barrel blaster, was William Contreras. I mean, he friggin' balled out. Willie Adames could have gotten mentioned in the barrel blaster as well a little bit, but with today's performance and just how consistent he's been, and just catching almost every single day. I mean, he's been in the lineup every day, caught um, what 7 out of the 8 games is it now? He's really been so consistent. My crafty pitcher goes to the duo today in Colin Ray and Tiago Vieira. Just put together 9 innings of good enough, solid pitching to get a win. I mean, if you can have 2 guys pitch and get 4 earned runs, really two. That last home run was just kind of whatever. But I mean, they pitched so well, and the pitching was just kind of inconsistent with the in the games prior. So I uh I decided to go with those two. My award, the Craig Council Max Plus, which on Twitter, a lot of people just didn't seem to understand what I was going for here. Basically, if you get a subscription in anything now, you can pay extra for the plus or the max or whatever it's called. So that was kind of what I was going for with that joke. But Pat Murphy has been, as a leader, just so good, mixing up lineups, doing a good job. So I decided to go with Pat Murphy as my kind of specialty award for the series. What do you think about these?
I agree full heartedly. I mean, I think these are all great picks. William Contreras, like I texted you earlier, that back to back Silver Slugger is
It's
gonna
on the
hit.
way.
And I
It's
think
on the
he's on
way.
his way to becoming, considered a top 2, 3 catcher in the league. 'Cause, I mean,
Mhm.
his defense has also really came together this season
Oh
so
yeah.
far. He's he's not afraid to throw back picks. Has he thrown anybody out? I feel like he's thrown somebody out at second, if I remember
Well, for
correctly.
like the first couple games, no one had stolen on us. So I
That's
mean
right. No,
that's
I'm
kind
thinking
of
of the back pick in the first
yeah, at
Mets.
first base. Yep.
Yeah, no, but him staying in front of balls at the plate has gotten a lot better. So I just think, yeah, he's our own superstar at the catcher position, and it's such a important position, and it's so rare to find somebody of his caliber that
Hmm.
I think he's going to be a huge piece for this team for years to come.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to agree with you. All right, let's move on now to the B&B trivia. So, the Milwaukee Brewers spent one season as a franchise in Seattle. What was the name of the team for that one season in 1969? Nice. A, the Snakes, B, the Mariners, C, the Brewers, or D, the Pilots? What do you think on this one?
For some reason, I'm drawn to the Pilots.
Well, I guess you'll have to wait and see until next episode. Um, they they that's probably a good guess. The answer to the last trivia, I don't know if you remember, it was whether or not we're over or under 500 against the Twins. We're actually under. We
Really?
Yeah, we were under by like 30 games or something. So really got to start beating up on Minnesota a little more.
Yeah, we got to get that back into plus territory.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I mean, we got to turn that more Packer Viking feel where we just smoke them every time it feels like. But all right, up next we have, I believe I got the records right this episode. The 6-2 Brewers versus the 5-4 Reds. We're going to Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. Never know what the weather's going to be like there, so it should be pretty exciting to see. What do you think going into this series are going to be some big points for the Brewers of emphasis? Maybe some things you want to see from the team, or some things that you want to see improved from this weekend.
I think love to see. I'd heard today that Wade Miley was going to throw a bullpen tomorrow, and that they'd listed their starter for Wednesday as to be D. So I'd love to see him sneak into a start, maybe go 3, 4 innings, see
Yeah,
if his rehab is coming along. Um, Other than that, love to see them go in and dominate this young Reds team. Um, Try to get, bit of a head start on these divisional series. Try to
yeah,
win this Central, but
yeah. I mean, I think last year we kind of destroyed the Reds. We really seemed to give them some trouble. I've heard, and I thought I heard it on the broadcast, but this also could have been the moonshine talking. I thought I heard that Aaron Ashby was starting tomorrow on the 8th.
really, oh,
So
let
it'd be
me
cool to
look.
see Ashby. Um, I could be wrong. And like you said, Wade Miley should be back soon, so it'd be cool to see him. Maybe go with the 6-man rotation until we start figuring stuff out a little more, because the bullpen's going to be working very hard, so we need to definitely make sure our starters are rested as well. But
Yeah, oh yeah, Aaron Ashby will be starting tomorrow against Graham Ashcraft, and then
ooh, okay,
it'll be Joe Ross
okay.
going on Tuesday against Frankie Montas.
Ooh, he's had
And
a good
then
start to this
he
year.
has. And then yeah, Wednesday is TBD against Hunter Green,
Oh,
who
okay.
yeah, that'll be a tough one.
That dude's a baller.
He's got no decisions on the year, but he's got a 2.5 ERA with 13 strikeouts already. So I mean, we'll know he'll
Yeah.
come in pumping gas.
Yep. Yeah, that's kind of his game.
Yeah.
So hopefully I mean, we haven't seemed to be phased by, hard throwers at all.
Mhm.
Andres Munoz, if I got his name right, thank you. Uh, he he threw pretty hard, and we, spit on a lot of his pitches, honestly. I mean, just kind of walked and laughed in his face as we walked home on a walk-off victory. So I don't
Yeah.
think the velocity should be too much of an issue for most of these guys. But yeah, I think like you said, getting ahead in the division early, so important in baseball. Such a long season, and if you can get a commanding lead from the start, it's much nicer to um, be able to be at the top than trying to scratch and claw your way up the entire season. But yeah, I'm excited to see this, and I think it should be a good series. In terms of the B&B beer requests, if you have any beers you've been dying to try, you have a go-to beer that I need to try, comment or reach out on any of the socials listed below with what I should drink next. Again, I had the New Glarus Brewing Company Spotted Cow. If you're in Wisconsin, go get you one. If you're not in Wisconsin, that's too damn bad.
Sucks to suck.
Yeah. Why don't you come to a good state? Uh, anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. I would say I'd take my last sip of the beer, but I actually finished it like 10 minutes ago. So, the beer is gone. The pod is done. Thank you for listening, everybody, and have a good one.
Peace.